My name is Waipav Narula, and for my project, I chose to focus on the elephant population in Mozambique, specifically the elephants living in Gorongosa National Park. Gorongosa is located in central Mozambique and is one of the most ecologically diverse regions in Africa. The park spans roughly 4,000 square kilometers, which includes forests, floodplains, rivers, savannas, and grasslands. Because of this variety of habitats, Gorongosa supports thousands of plants and animal species. What makes the Gorongosa elephant population especially important is its history. During Mozambique's Civil War, which lasted from late 1970s until the early 1990s, elephants were heavily poached for ivory. This was not occasional poaching, it was widespread and intense. Ivory was used to fund the war, so elephants became direct victims of human conflict. As a result, elephant numbers dropped drastically, but even more importantly, elephant social structures were destroyed. Elephants live in family groups led by matriarchs who pass down knowledge about migration routes, water sources, and safe behavior. When those matriarchs were killed, entire families lost leadership and guidance. Even today, decades after the war ended, Gorongosa's elephants still show long-term effects of that trauma. They avoid open spaces during the day, move cautiously near rivers, and react strongly to human presence. This means that saving this population isn't just about increasing numbers, it's about helping them recover behaviorally, socially, and ecologically, which is why I picked this special population. Biotic and abiotic factors. The Gorongosa elephant population is influenced by both biotic and abiotic factors. Abiotic factors are non-living parts of the environment, and one of the most important ones is water availability. Elephants need large amounts of water daily, and during dry seasons or droughts, water sources become limited. Temperature and heat stress also matter, especially when elephants avoid open areas and concentrate in shaded forest regions. Another abiotic factor is habitat space. Even though Gorongosa is large, elephants currently use only a portion of it. This effectively reduces their usable habitat, which affects population density and movement patterns. Biotic factors include living interactions such as food availability, competition with other herbivores like buffalo, parasites, disease, and predators that mainly affect calves. However, one of the most influential biotic factors in Gorongosa is humans. Elephants respond to people as a threat due to historical experiences, which affects where and when they move. When we look at density-independent factors, these include war, poaching, and drought. These factors affect elephants regardless of population size. For example, during the Civil War, elephants were killed no matter how many elephants were left. Drought reduces water and plant growth, whether the population is large or small. Density-dependent factors include food competition, disease spread, and crowding. As elephant numbers increase within limited safe areas, competition for plants becomes stronger, and disease can spread more easily. In Gorongosa, the most impactful forces historically were density-independent factors, especially war and poaching, because they reshaped the population permanently. Population growth type plus carrying capacity. Elephants are a classic example of a K-selected species. They have long gestation periods of nearly 2 years, give birth to one calf at a time, and invest a lot of care into each offspring. Because of this, the populations grow very slowly. The growth pattern of the Gorongosa elephant population is logistic growth, not exponential growth. This means that the population size increases gradually and then slows as it approaches carrying capacity, which is the maximum number of elephants the environment can support long term. To estimate carrying capacity, I used a mathematical approach, the calculations, based on land area and historical data. The park covers 4,000 square kilometers, and before the Civil War, the population was about 2,200 elephants. Dividing population by area gives a density of about 0.55 elephants per square kilometer, which I use as a reasonable estimate for carrying capacity. However, this is not entirely accurate because the habitat is described as bountiful. Elephants are physically healthy and well-nourished, but they don't use most of the park because of fear. This means that the true carrying capacity may be higher. but the behavior is currently limiting population expansion more than food or water. Community interactions. Elephants and Gorongosa interact with their community in ways that few other species do. Because of their size and feeding behavior, elephants physically change the landscape. When they move through forests, they knock down trees and shrubs, which opens up space for sunlight to reach the ground and allow new plant species to grow. These changes affect other animals as well. Smaller herbivores benefit from new plant growth. Predators benefit from open spaces, and birds and insects benefit from increased plant diversity. Because elephants affect so many species directly and indirectly, their presence or absence has ripple effects. This is why elephants are considered keystone species. Removing them would fundamentally change how the ecosystem functions. Food chain and energy flow. Energy flow in the Gorongosa ecosystem begins with the sun. Plants such as grasses, shrubs, and trees are producers because they convert sunlight into chemical energy through photosynthesis. Elephants are primary consumers that eat these plants and store the energy in their bodies. That energy moves up the food chain when predators like lions feed on herbivores or when scavengers like hyenas consume the dead bodies. Decomposers, including bacteria and fungi, break down the waste and dead organisms, which returns the nutrients to the soil, enriching it. Elephants are especially important in energy flow because they consume large amounts of vegetation and redistribute nutrients across the landscape through their poop. This helps maintain soil fertility and plant growth through the ecosystem. How to measure biodiversity. Biodiversity is measured using two main ideas: species richness and evenness. This is from apes. Species richness refers to how many different species are present in an ecosystem, while evenness refers to how balanced the population sizes of those species are. One scientific method used is the Simpson's Diversity Index. This formula calculates the probability that two randomly selected individuals belong to different species. Higher values closer to 1 indicate greater biodiversity and ecosystem stability. In Gorongosa, maintaining a high biodiversity is essential because diverse ecosystems are more resilient to stressors such as drought, disease, and human activity such as poachers. Elephants help maintain this biodiversity by shaping the habitats and supporting the ecological niches. Human impacts on this elephant population. Humans have had one of the most powerful impacts on the Gorongosa elephant population. Ivory poaching during the Civil War killed large numbers of elephants and disrupted family structures. Many elephants today still carry battle scars, such as bullet wounds, and behavioral scars, such as fear towards people. Human impacts also include habitat fragmentation, roads, and conflict with nearby communities when elephants enter farmland. These pressures don't just reduce population size, they change how elephants behave and socialize. The long-term effects of human activity are still visible today, showing that conservation must address both population numbers and behavioral recovery. I'm about to sneeze, I'm sorry. How can we save them? Protecting Gorongosa's elephants requires a long-term, multi-layered approach. Strong anti-poaching enforcement and well-supported park rangers are essential to prevent illegal killing. Protecting habitat and wildlife corridors allows elephants to safely reach food and water sources. Equally important is working with local communities to reduce conflict. Helping communities protect crops without harming elephants reduces resentment and violence. Education and policy changes that reduce ivory demand are also critical. Ultimately, saving Gorongosa's elephants is not just about increasing their population. It's about helping them feel safe again so that they can fully reclaim their role as keystone species and restore balance to the ecosystem. So, in conclusion, protecting the elephants protects the whole ecosystem rather than one population. Even though it is recovering, it still shows the long-term effects. Saving them will bring joy and peace to the world. Thank you. Oh yeah, elephant's also a keystone animal.